Ooh, I think this chapter could be a little bit controversial. I think this one could be even more divided than last week's with Queen versus Big Mom, and we'll definitely get into that in this review. So let's go. Yo, Hegassen here, and here is my review of One Piece chapter 947, Queen's Gamble. And like I said, I think this one could have a lot of divided opinions in this one. There could be a lot of people shouting out lazy writing. I'm not really sure how the overall community is going to go with this one, but we'll touch on some of that stuff later. Pretty much all of it revolving around Big Mom. Last week as well, we had a little bit of division in the community where a lot of people weren't happy at the fact that Big Mom seemingly knocked out Queen in 2 hits. But as the chapter title this week says, you know, Queen is still in it. I was thinking last week that Queen's defeat, he looked a little bit too clean, you know, he only had a mild nosebleed, and here in this chapter again we see him standing back up. He's far from over, he's still in the fight, which is good. So it doesn't mean that Queen is, you know, Queen's super weak. That's what a lot of people were shouting out. No, you know, he actually did tank quite a lot of them hits, so big respects actually to Queen. Queen does his own stuff in this chapter though that do put him down a notch for me, not in terms of fighting strength, but in terms of just his overall character. He puts him down one little notch, and I'll get to that towards the end of this review. But don't worry, Queen didn't get defeated last week, so that is a good plus. You know, especially when you compare it to, say, Luffy versus Kaido, where Luffy was completely bloodied up and out in 1 hit, or Jack versus Shootenmaru, where Jack almost got cut in half and stuff. Compared to them two, Queen was very clean. The next thing we get into that also had a lot of people talking last week was the fact that last week it ended up with Luffy like that, squaring down against Big Mom. I heard a lot of people shouting that, oh, if Luffy gets a hit off, it's going to make Queen look even worse. It's going to make Luffy look way too powerful. It's going to make Big Mom look weak. All kinds of stuff. Well, again, don't worry about any of that, because Big Mom smacked Luffy like that, and Luffy was completely knocked out. He didn't master the Haki just yet. He did master it in taking off the collars, and we got a lot more information on that, but he didn't master it in the fight here, so he's still got a little bit of training to do. It wasn't an easy win for Luffy. He wasn't squaring off against Big Mom that easily. Big Mom still one slapped him into the wall. Luffy was okay because he's made of rubber. Old Man Hero took a little bit of damage, but he tanked it as well. You know, he used this new Haki. But let's talk about this Haki. We actually got confirmation of what happened way back in the auction house with Rayleigh all those years ago on how he actually removed Camie's collar. And we see here that Rayleigh did actually use Armament Haki, so we got the first instance here of the new style Armament Haki being used in the pre-time skip, and he just rips it off and throws it aside like how Luffy took Old Man Hyo's off, which I'll be honest is a little bit disappointing. At first I was like, is that it? All he did was Armament Haki up and rip it off? But we get a little bit more of an explanation later on as to what actually happened and made it a little bit more interesting. Isn't quite what I thought it was. So what we get here is this new invisible armor. And this new invisible armor Haki has 2 features. The first is that it creates a shield around the body, and we now get a visual representation of what that is. It is literally just an aura around, you know, kind of like a Dragon Ball style key or a chakra cloak or something like that. They just get an aura around it. And I was talking to friends before and like, oh, how's it going to be if Luffy is just fighting with this invisible thing? And I was like, I bet once it's announced, like with the Armament Haki, there's going to be a visual clue. And here we get it. It is an aura that goes around the body, and that aura can be used to stop impacts from actually hitting your fist. So if they show it as here as a rock comes flying in, and the rock gets destroyed when it hits the aura, like a shield, you know, like a shield on a spaceship in sci-fi. It does that same thing, so it doesn't actually impact your fist, it impacts around it. And that's how you can deflect stuff, and that's what we saw, you know, like the admirals and doing, they were deflecting off these things. And it has a second ability as well, so that's if you don't make contact. If you do make contact, it can really, really mess up your insides, and you actually put your Haki into the enemy and basically rip them to shreds from the inside. And that's what Rayleigh was doing with the collar, and what Luffy did with the collar here. That's why he was able to rip it off without the mechanisms triggering, because he just destroyed the mechanisms from the inside. And it's very similar to how Jinbe, you know, does it with his fisherman karate. It's that same kind of thing of doing major damage to the inside. And that does make sense when you look at Katakuri, and he was talking about the fact that he has more advanced armament Haki, and his punches were doing way more damage to Luffy. This is probably what it was. He was hitting Luffy with these fists that were doing major damage to your insides. So it's not just the physical outside hit, it's messing up your internal organs, and that's why it's so powerful. And you can also then use this on technology and stuff to mess it up on the inside. So I'm guessing next time Luffy comes across a pacifista, they are going to go down even easier. So we've had Haki being taken to the next level, and you can take it to the next level with a like and subscribe. Haki up that like and subscribe and pound them buttons. So that was the Haki. That was very interesting. Good to get that lore and finally find out what it is. Invisible armor. But let's talk now about what is actually Queen's gamble. Well, Queen stands back up. He's looking pretty clean and he comes up with a plan. While Big Mom is chasing Luffy, she's chasing him all the way around the prison. So all of the gates are getting smashed up, which is opening up all of the 5 areas. And Queen's plan is that when Big Mom circles back around, he's going to set something up to trap her. First, before that, during that chase around, we get one very interesting character. We see this tall, lanky guy with a ponytail in one of those kind of little snow hat things. I said it looks like snow run, that kind of thing. And I'm pretty sure now that this character is Denjiro because it's got that ponytail. They highlighted this person as an important person. So we could have Karamatsu and Denjiro both in this prison complex, which then completes all of the 9 scabbards. Originally we were all thinking that, or at least I was thinking that Denjiro was going to be Kamazo the Manslayer, but no, that turned out to be Killer. So I think this here is Denjiro, and that completes the 9 red scabbards. So that's interesting. 2 good things in a row, but now we get onto the thing that I think is going to be a little bit controversial, and that is how Queen takes on Big Mom. Not the actual take on itself, but the after effects. So Queen's plan, which is a little bit disappointing. I thought it was going to be an elaborate trap. All it was you could put the pot of Oshiruku, Big Mom goes towards it, like a mouse going towards cheese, and then Queen, in Brachiosaurus form, Snorlax body slams down onto Big Mom, head first, their heads collide. It looks like Big Mom's eyes are going white, and then in that moment we get a flashback. We see Perispero, we see Smoothie, and she gets her memories back. The impact was big enough for her amnesia to get snapped out. Queen bounces off her, falls on the floor. Big Mom is standing there, completely fine. Queen is shocked. She turns around with a menace. You get all of those black outlines, her evil, that killing instinct menace that you always get in anime comes out. All of the characters are shaking, and then she just falls asleep like Ace, like Luffy, like Garp, just falls asleep completely. I'm guessing that impact did have some kind of impact, or all of this running around. I have no idea, but she very, very conveniently fell asleep. And this is where Queen uses the opportunity to wrap her in season chains. And I don't know how I feel about this right now. What I was most fearing is that Big Mom would just be used as a big plot device just to get Luffy and Kid and Killer now out of these situations that they're in. And this is basically what happened. Big Mom arrived at Udon Prison, used their strength to free Luffy, free Old Man Hyo, free Karamatsu, free Kid, free Killer, mess up all of the doors in the prison so everybody can now move around freely, including potentially Denjiro. I don't know. She was used as a big plot device, and now she's been captured. This could go multiple ways, to be honest. They were some quite negative things. I weren't really happy about that. I was quite looking forward to the fact of maybe her and Chopper getting along, having a little bit more chemistry between the two, and Chopper working out how to heal her later on, and this could be something that Chopper does throughout the arc. So now that is out of the window. There are some positives here in the fact that now she's been taken to Onigashima, so we could actually finally get Big Mom meeting Kaido and see their interactions and find out a bit more about their backstory. That's pretty interesting. Another thing that I still don't know if I'm going to be happy about is the fact that now what's going to happen with the Big Mom pirates, because Big Mom is now captured. All of the Straw Hats are going to Onigashima anyway to fight Kaido. When the Big Mom pirates get back in Wano, they're also going to want to go to Onigashima. Are we now going to get a Big Mom pirate, Straw Hat, Samurai alliance? Is that a good or a bad thing? Because I was kind of hoping for some of the fights that we didn't get in Whole Cake Island to happen here in Wano. I wanted to see someone like Nami or Robin or someone take on Smoothie and actually see Smoothie fight a Straw Hat. I wanted to see Carrot get the revenge on Perispero, and now we might end up with them actually helping Luffy in that to free Big Mom, or at least to get into Onigashima, or at least cause enough commotion getting into Onigashima that makes Luffy's attack on Onigashima a little bit easier. So we'll just have to see how this goes. I have faith in Oda. isn't really the way that I wanted it to go. It could be interesting though, you know. I wasn't really liking Big Mom amnesia stuff at the beginning, and then I started to warm up to it. And now that the amnesia's out, I'm a little bit like, oh, was that it? So we'll see. We'll see how it goes. But I think right now it's a little bit of a low. But we did get some good stuff in this chapter. Although sadly, it ends in the worst way possible for me. And this is the thing I dislike the most, and that's the fact that Queen just leaves Udon prison. He gets Big Mom, he captures Big Mom, and he just leaves. We see his ship with a Brachiosaurus on the front, which is really cool. But yeah, Queen just leaves and leaves the prison in charge with Babanuki and with Daifogo, the scorpion guy who got taken up by Luffy in one punch. They're now put in charge, and he's just like, yeah, just, you know, shut all the gates, put all the prisoners back in their cells, clean it up, I'm off, bye. And they're even like, wait, what about that guy? Obviously referring to Luffy, and he's just like, bye, see you later. He didn't even try and stop Luffy. I was kind of hoping a little bit here that we'd actually get a little bit of Queen versus Luffy, of Queen, you know, throwing him in the cell and stuff, but we didn't get that here. Queen just leaves. It's good for later on in the arc, because we can still potentially get that Sanji fight with Queen, and Queen's still very much like not completely beaten up and has enough time to recover to get back in the fight. But this just now leaves Luffy in a prison where he's clearly the most strongest, and he even at the end he's like, I'm gonna make Udon prison my own, I'm taking over, because Babanuki and that, they ain't nothing compared to Luffy. He's gonna take him out easy. And then basically we've got Luffy, Kid, Killer, Old Man Hyo, Karamatsu, potentially Denjiro, Chopper's there also, and Okiku. It's an easy win for them. They're going to take over this prison. Luffy's going to have his own little training ground. He's going to have all of these potential allies that he's going to build up here. Also, we've got Raizo and we've got Caribou in the headquarters, so they can easily open the gates as well. This was so stupid of Queen to leave Luffy here on his own, and I think this is the thing that I dislike the most out of this chapter. There was some good stuff in this chapter, like the Haki, like the potential Denjiro stuff, like Luffy not very easily taking on Big Mom. But I don't really like this ending bit, to be honest. I think I have to wait and see where it goes. After the last few hype chapters, this one's a little bit down for me. There was still some good stuff, but a little bit down. So I think overall for me, right now, I feel this is probably only a blue tier chapter for me. I'm not going to call it lazy writing because we don't know where it's going to go. This stuff is always so meticulously planned out and everything. I am interested to kind of see Luffy taking over the prison and being like a little bit of a kingpin in the prison. I am interested to see Big Mom and Kaido actually, you know, meet up here on screen, on panel I should say, for the first time. But I'm not really happy with how the memory loss was just used as a plot device, and how Queen was so kind of stupid here at the end just to think he can leave Luffy alone in the prison after he saw that, you know, he tanked a Big Mom hit and stuff, and how easily defeated all of his gifters and stuff, and the fact that he knows that Kid and Killer are clearly out of their chains. That was a bad move by Queen. Anyway, no break next week. Probably gonna cut back and see what's going on with Zoro and Sanji and stuff, and that should be some interesting stuff. I hope all of them fights aren't over and we actually get to go back in time a little bit and see what's going on with them. I'd really hate it if we went back and we found out that Sanji versus X Drake was completely skipped. That would really be controversial for me. Anyway, hey, so thanks for watching. What did you think? Let me know about it in the comments below. And if you enjoyed my video, maybe give it a like, and if you really liked it, why not subscribe? You can follow me on Twitter, Instagram and Twitch. Oh, and here's a related video you might enjoy, and something more fresh. I've been Hegassen, and I'll talk to you next time. Bye!